Hey y'all, I'm back with a scrapbooking process video from start to finish. I'm going to share with y'all step 1 through however many steps there are, probably several, starting with my photo down to picking my paper to my embellishments of different textures and so on. So at this point, I'm looking through my 12 by 12 papers and I'm trying to decide on which background I want to do. So the first couple tips that I have is if you're not going to scrapbook with a white background, I suggest finding something with like a larger scale pattern. So basically, like the less busy the pattern is, the easier it is to scrapbook with. And so you'll also notice that I have a black and white photo. And I choose black and white a lot. And the reason I do that is because it's not going to compete with any of the colors I choose. And if I don't choose a black and white photo, lots of times my photo is edited with some sort of app or photo software. So at this point, I've decided on a grid background, which is pretty simple. It's kind of an aqua blue background. It's perfect for a photo of my daughter and my son. I'm going to use some neutral colors, but I'm also going to use some like oranges and blues and stuff as well. So the next thing I kind of decide after picking my photo is what style I'm going with. So if you watched my organization video, you probably saw me organize by style. I have like kind of that crepe papery style and then also that studio calico style, and I put those in separate containers or separate categories because they are very different styles. This is going to be more of a quote unquote like studio calico style, which is simple edges, like clean design. Trying to think of what else. Simple, I guess I already kind of said simple, but geometric. They have a lot of geometric designs. So if you kind of understand what I'm saying, not lots of florals, not lots of pinks. Although I love all of those things, I chose this for this particular photo and for this project. And I'm telling you guys this because I think it makes it easier in choosing your product, or at least narrowing down what product you're going to be picking from. So I have this little scrap bin. I don't have a ton of scraps. A while back, I actually went through a lot of my paper and gave the majority of it to my daughter, and then I kept the stuff that I knew I would want to use. And I'm looking through these Traveler's Notebook papers or pattern papers by Freckled Fawn, I believe, and they're from a long time ago, but basically I decided to go with that kind of more mustardy yellow. It's not really even mustard, it's more golden. It kind of has an orange tint to it, and it had a cute little squiggly design, but the majority of my things are going to be a little bit more geometric and straight. And you'll notice I chose different types of patterns, and I'm not paying too much attention to like large scale versus small scale. Kind of going back to or backwards a little bit in choosing your pattern, it probably is easiest to choose something that's like clean or simple. If you're not choosing a white background, you might want to choose like a larger scale pattern, or something simple like this, like a grid. If you choose something that has smaller patterns, like little bitty flowers all over it, or I'm trying to think of something else, even something that has like more than one icon on it, that's just all like it's super busy. I guess you guys probably understand what I'm talking about. If you're scrapbooking, you probably know what I'm referring to. But if you're going to choose that, you might choose either a larger photo or lots of layers to kind of even out that background. Or you can also show like the background peaking and have more of like like a white canvas on top of the background, if that makes sense. So a little bit of the pattern showing in kind of in the on the edges, like an inch or two showing, but then the majority of like your canvas be white, if that makes sense. So I can probably do a video on some of this stuff as well if you're interested. So at this point, I'm looking through my ephemera, and I talked to you guys about style, and I've chosen my bin that just has the style that I'm going for. I chose that particular bin. So I want some smaller pieces, and then I also want some larger pieces. I also want to match some of the patterns in one of the corners. So my photo and the layers are going to be kind of more in the bottom right hand corner, and my I guess corner cluster is going to be in the top left hand corner, and I almost always do that diagonal, and you'll kind of see what I mean once it all comes together. Right now I'm choosing, like I said, some embellishments that are going to complement the photo. Right now these are just paper or like cardstock embellishments. I will show you some different textures here in a little bit because I do want to mix it up a little bit and just kind of share with you my thought process behind this. So when I talk about bigger embellishment, I want to start from like the base and build up. So you'll notice I did that with my papers as well. So my larger paper is in the back, and then you have the smaller papers kind of in a hierarchy. So then you have, the smallest bit of paper behind the photo peeking out. And then also, and it may not be that way every single time, but that's kind of my thought process. And if I want to change something up as I'm scrapbooking, then that's fine too. So I feel like I have enough, or at least a variety of different embellishments. So I have some of my larger embellishments, which is like the clipboard and the bigger journaling tag, to more medium size, which is like the little sun, and then a couple of little circles, and then some smaller ones, which like have some words on it. Now I'm picking some texture, like the cork, and then some wood veneer, and then chipboard. I don't love a lot of bulk. I don't mind bulk, but I'm not like the biggest fan of having things layered, like having layers upon layers upon layers. And so I do like to keep it a little bit more simple than that. And so I've decided, if I don't use all this stuff that I've pulled, that's perfectly fine. But I want to have some options. And this kind of helps. It's like you're building a kit a little bit, if that makes sense. And this kind of helps you limit the product that you're going to use, but then also um, you don't really have to go searching like in the middle of scrapbooking, if that makes sense. So now you notice I haven't adhered anything down. Um, this isn't my process every single time. It really depends on my mood, but I really think this layout came together so quickly because I took the time to like pick my product. So now that I have everything laid out, I think I'm ready to start adhering. One of my biggest challenges is getting the layers just right, or the way that I like them. And so lots of times I set them down, I like the way they look, and then I grab my stapler, and this is just a quick tip. I just staple them together. And you'll see I started to just adhere them one by one, and then I realized, nope, I know I'm not going to like the outcome if I do it that way. I grabbed them, I set my photo there, I liked the way that it looked, and so what I decided to do was go ahead and staple it, and I could care less if the staple is going to show. And honestly, the staple's silver, and this photo is like black and white, so it's going to be hidden anyway. And lots of times I purposely staple where I'm going to put embellishments, so that you can cover up the staples if you really want them to be covered. So I was ready to adhere everything down, so I went ahead and did that. Now I'm going to create that top cluster like I was talking about before. Another tip for you guys, I know this is not like a Tuesday tip video, which I just started actually, and honestly, to be completely honest and forward with y'all, I actually planned on having this video up on Tuesday so that I could share all these tips, but there were so many of them. One, I wasn't going to finish the video like yesterday because I got home super late, but two, I just decided to do like a start to finish video and just kind of share all of these tips like kind of in this one video. So I can do some of these individual tips on in my like scrapbooking for beginners little series, which this could be considered one of those videos as well. So I have adhered my little cluster. One other tip that I was about to mention before I was telling you all that was that you can match some of the patterns. So any patterns you cut up for your layers underneath your main photo, you can use the remaining pieces up in the corner. I do that a lot, and I actually tear them a lot. But this was more of a clean design. Again, it was a little bit more simple. And if I were doing something like more vintage or like, I don't know if I'm trying to like think of the right word here, but like more organic, then I probably would have just torn the paper and had some of those like rough edges with more texture. So at this point, I really liked this round piece from like the Lens Allie Edwards kit from a long time ago. And some of these things I'm pulling, I've had in my stash for a very long time, so I'm actually very proud of myself. But I decided I liked those 3 layers of the clipboard and a little acetate piece, and then also that sun. So I went ahead and just stapled them together so that they would adhere, so that I could have them adhere just right or to my liking. And that other chipboard round piece that I was talking about earlier, I went ahead and hid behind the photo, so it's kind of peeking out. And for the cork, it'll look like it's peeking out, or so it'll look like it's actually, so my thought process was to have it sticking out where it says best friends, but I actually decided to use it just as an extra piece of texture rather than for what it said. And so I cut it up and I had it peeking out, and then I used the other, like the fourth that was left over, I used it in my little corner side cluster there on the left, just to add a little bit more texture. So I also have these chipboard triangle pieces from Studio Calico, and I love those. I thought they were adhesive backed, but they're not. And so I went ahead and added those just for some extra layers there in the middle of the page. And I like either putting things like going in one direction, down or up, or like going to the side. And I just decided to have it so that your eye kind of moves down, I guess, if that makes any sense at all. And then I'm hiding a little orange ticket. I love the look of like blues and oranges and yellows in this particular layout, just because I think it goes perfectly with like the background and just all the different layers combined, and then the embellishments that I chose. But I think one last thing is some puffy stickers, and then I'm going to grab actually some India ink. And well, first I guess I'm going to adhere my wood veneer pieces. So the texture that I actually chose a few pieces just to kind of share with you again my thought process. But I have the wood veneer, I have the cork. So the wood veneer stars are from Close to My Heart. The like I said, chipboard pieces are Studio Calico. The cork is from Ali Edwards from a long time ago. And then I have I feel like I had one other thing that I added. Oh, some puffy stickers. And I think that pretty much finishes up the layout, with the exception of one thing I used to do all the time that I hadn't done till recently. And like I hadn't done in a long time until like one time recently. And it's probably been years since I've used this India ink. But I just shake it up a little bit, and then I just make some bigger splatters. And I didn't want to go too crazy with that. I left it right at that, and then that's pretty much it. I love the way this layout came out. I have some final photos to share with y'all, and I hope you guys enjoyed this process. Let me know if you did by giving me a thumbs up or leaving a comment, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.